Hey, Riley,
Yeah, Andrew.
you want to make a podcast?
Yeah, what do you got?
So I got a submission in this week. This one comes from Ceramic Costumes again. The title of this one is My Brother, My Brother, My Brother, My Brother, My Brother, and Me and Me and Me and Me and Me and Me and Me.
So, how many NBs are there?
I think one too many, actually.
That's what I thought. So we can.
Nope, I fucked it up.
So, so hypothetically, we have in front of us several brothers and several me's. Are the
Yes.
me's related to the brothers, or do you think each brother is paired with their own me? Do you think it's a my brother and me, my brother and me, and my brother and me? Or, like, how do you think the pairings go?
So I think that clearly this is one person, their 5 clones, and their 6 brothers. So we got 6 dudes, host prime, and then 5 other hosts. Like, host being a character name. Everyone's a co-host.
Yes. I think that many people on a podcast is just going to be too much to listen to.
I think it'll be bad. I think it also... The thing about my brother and me is that you don't know which one the me is, even though it's obviously Justin. This one, I feel like it's very obvious which one the me is.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah, because the way you've packed it, because there's many of the one. How do you know which one's the real me, though?
Probably because the other ones are just going to be babies, because
they're
clones.
babies. So we haven't, enhanced their aging, right?
Look, we're not that far into the technology, Riley.
I get it.
I'm starting to think this one's bad. Do you have a different pitch for us?
Yeah, this one is from my good friend Ray. DM to me in a Discord DM. Podcast which is as boring as humanly possible. Why, you tell me. So I think this one's great because sometimes, Andrew, I don't want to do a joke. Sometimes I don't want to have a good time. Sometimes I just want to show up. I need to bang out the podcast and get out. And I think that this one's perfect for that because I can just show up and I can just say words and not make it funny or not make it enjoyable.
Here's the problem.
Yes.
You live life on the edge, and I like to take everything one step at a time and live to the extreme. Mm-hmm. What can we talk about that's boring enough that, like, would accomplish this goal? What's the most boring thing that you have to do on a daily basis?
The most boring thing I have to do on a daily basis is teach a customer how to extend the harness for their pet. You know how, like, a backpack extends where you push the one part into the other and then pull it down?
Yeah, I do that pretty often.
Yeah. Apparently a lot of people have never seen it in their life, and it is some sort of, like, ancient arcane magics. Because they're always like, is this as big as this gets? And it's like, as it's super small. And I'm like, no. Let me do that. They're like, whoa, how'd you do that? And I'm like, well, you push the one strap up into here, and then you pull that one down, and then it just, like a backpack that you've used in your life.
So, okay, I get this because I also used to work in retail service where I would so I worked at a used DVD store. Where a good part of my day was a customer would come up and they would say, hey, do you have a copy of The Lost Boys on DVD? And I'd say, let me check. And I'd pull up our system and look it up. And it would say, yep, we got one copy of The Lost Boys in. And I'd say, okay. I'd say, it looks like we do have a copy. And they would say, okay, because I can't find it on the wall of $2.22 DVDs. And I would say, okay, I guess I'll go help you with that. And then I would go and I would sort through all of the L-titled DVDs to see if I could find this DVD for a person. And I know what I made an hour, and there were definitely times when it was not cost-effective for me to spend a good 30 minutes trying to find one $2.22 DVD for our customer.
Yep.
Just on a business perspective, you're losing money on that transaction, even if we do find the DVD.
This brings me to a new podcast idea, which is just retail is hell, or hell is retail.
Yeah, but this isn't. So this isn't customer horror stories. It's just like customer mundanity stories.
Yeah, it's customer mundanity, but like I just want to have a place that kind of bring in bring in people who work in retail, sit them down, and go, "It's okay, buddy. It's okay. Just let
Yeah,
them
like
vent,"
I come in and I say, hey, today, look, so I don't have this job anymore, so I'm pretending a bit, but like, hey, today, another customer made the I couldn't find the price tag, which means that this is free. They made that joke for me again.
Yep. Today a customer came in and I had to be like, and they were like, "How's it going?" And I was like, "I'm alive." And they were like, "Yeah, what a wild world we live in, huh? At least everything's going back to normal." And I'm like, "No, it's not. Chicago's rolling back again." And they're like, "All right, have a good one."
Today, different job. Today I had to drive into the family video again, even though it is a blizzard outside. And every single customer walked in today and said, "Wow, I can't believe you're open. Why are you here working?" And I had to say, "I'm here because you're here."
Yep. Customers don't like it when you turn it back around.
Yeah, they don't like it when you point out that they're complicit.
Yep.
This podcast is just bumming me out, Riley.
You're right. Let me hit you with this one that Ray has here. Another suggestion from my good friend Ray. A podcast that embodies pure rage.
We just described it. That's the back half of every episode.
You're right. How about you take one? What do you got?
Sure. So I got one from my co-host on the Argonauts, Marn, a podcast where we rank every single actor named Tom.
Huh. Control T, IMDb, Tom.
I'm going to try and name who I think the most middle-of-the-road Tom actor is.
And then we'll start from there. We'll go from there in either direction.
So I think Selleck.
Tom Selleck is our middleest Tom?
I think so. Name me an actor that is slightly better than Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck. Well, here I think that way, like down that path lies terror. So I think what we could do, what the other idea of how we can make this happen, is I name another Tom and then you place it above or below Tom Selleck. So I go Tommy Lee Jones.
That's fair. Ooh, above.
Above? Cool. Now you name one.
Middleton, the one that dated Taylor Swift and played Loki.
Oh, Tom Hiddleston.
Yes.
Tom Hiddleston.
Middleford.
Tom Hiddleston, I think, is below Tommy Lee Jones.
Okay, above Selleck though.
Above Selleck.
Okay.
Then I say Tom Holland.
Below all of them.
You don't like the Spider-Man boy.
He's good at being a little Spider-Man. That's about all he does.
You got him.
I mean, he's good as a Spider-Man, but like, where's the range there?
That's fair. All right. Tom Cavanaugh.
I don't know who that is.
That is Harrison Wells on The Flash. He is actually our top-ranked Tom.
Can't be over Hanks.
So Hanks is above him?
Can't not be.
Tom Hanks.
Where's Cruise fit in?
Cruise, I think I would put in under Tommy Lee Jones, honestly.
Interesting.
Because I think they both only do one thing. And I feel like
you're going to get a lot of heat from our mutual friend Joe for this one, but I think you're right.
Joe's not going to listen to this podcast.
That's fair.
Shout out to Joe.
I don't think that the Tomcast has a lot of legs.
Are you sure? Because I'm feeling I'm starting to dig through here. Go. What else do we have? What other Toms do I know?
We could do a bracket podcast of Toms, and every week we have to like randomize it, so it's like a double blind thing.
Tommy Wiseau.
Fuck.
Is he above?
That's
Tom
a Tom.
Cruise?
He's above Cruise.
Is he above Jones?
Well, so here's the thing. The thing with him is that he's like a parabola. It's just that he's on the opposite end of everyone else, but he is at the top.
He's at the top? I think that's fair.
He's like compelling and interesting and fascinating and magnetic on screen, but not in a good way. And so it's very hard to compare him.
Yes. I've got Tom Petty, who has been in a movie, underneath Tom Cruise, but above Tom Hiddleston.
I think he's got to go lower than that. I think he's under Hiddleston.
Is he above Tom Selleck, or is he under Tom Selleck?
Probably above Selleck.
All right. See, I think this one does have a lot of. Does Lily Tomlin make the list?
She's a Tom, yeah. She's definitely a Tom. And I gotta say, better than Selleck.
Better than Tom Selleck. Now I do think this has legs, and I think we're gonna put a pin in this because we should go to other ideas. Because I could just do this podcast. I could just continue to do this podcast because I think it's legitimately something.
If your name is Tom and you want to do this podcast, reach out. We only require 2%.
What? What is the name of the podcast? We have to name this one.
We have to name this one. We have to name.
I'm putting Tom Sharpling above Tommy Lee Jones.
Okay.
You disagree? Greg Universe? Yeah. Oh, you don't like children's shows.
You say Thomas Universe? Adventure Tom.
I'm putting Tom Sharpling under Tom Cruise.
What is the name of this show?
Is it Tom Many Cooks? Too Many Toms?
That absolutely Tom Many Cooks. You got it. You got it. You got
Tom Many Cooks.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll come back to that. Here, let me pull up one over here. One from our hashtag list. My good buddy Quinn Wilson. This isn't a Quinn Wilson actually. This is just Quinn at @pos_Ibley. Wait, I have an idea. Watch the entire Pokemon anime as if it were a profit, and then at the end of the episode predict what is going to happen in the future. Now, I think this is a suggestion for an idea that, like, we don't watch the whole season and then guess what's going to happen next episode. We utilize each episode of Pokemon and then go like, what will happen in 2021 because of this episode? What is this foretelling? Also, this is just never believe it. But
you're saying that we use the Pokemon anime as if they're tarot cards or as if they're some kind of divining tool.
The Pokemon anime is an oracle deck. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so each week we get a guest that comes in and says, "Hey, I have a problem. You know, I work for a tech company. We're having a real big product launch. I want to know how this is going to go." And I pull up a random episode of Pokemon,
which I'm doing right now. Don't you worry. I go, cool. I'm glad that you've come to me with this question. Let me answer this for you. And I flip out my book. I shake it out, and I go to
here. I got one right here. Pops out season 5, episode 7, Dueling Heroes. For the record, random Pokemon episode generator is a thing that exists. The description of this episode: as the final round of the World Cup begins, Ash and Misty must each face formidable opponents. Ash is his Kingler transferred from Oak's lab in preparation, but when he and Totodile begin their first battle, they must face an opponent with a powerful Kingdra. So for this one, we say, hey, you've got your big tech project coming up. You're going to need to draw on someone from the past or something that you did before and bring it with you and combine it with something in the present. But it's going to be a slog. Be ready.
I like this idea, but I don't know if it has legs, because what if someone just waits to ask their question for like the Pokemon episode that's coming up next? What if they're like, I know that they've been watching this in order. Well, I'll catch them on season 2, episode 3, so that way they can
sure.
So that's why I can't. I have to step away from that one, actually.
Okay, I get it. I knew that was going to happen because last night I watched an episode that gave me a seizure. We got a good one that came in last night from our friend at Sea Excursion, who says, instead of a bracket podcast, a brisket podcast.
A brisket podcast sounds amazing. What is it? Each week we both make a brisket and we come back to each other and talk about what we did with it?
That would be you know how most 90% of podcasts are created as a way for people to excuse themselves for doing a thing. Like people make movie podcasts because they want to watch more movies, right?
Yeah.
It's not because they're like, I'm a font of knowledge about movies.
Yes.
Wanting to make more brisket is the purest reason to start a podcast I can think of.
And then you have a Patreon that just pays for you to go to your local butcher and buy brisket.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The episodes will literally get better and better and better as you get more patrons, because you get the choicier cuts.
I love that.
Eventually you're making like Kobe brisket.
I love this idea. I love this idea a lot.
The brisket bracket. I like
brisket
this.
bracket. The brisket bracket. Wait, brisket bracket?
Well, the bracket was in the description, but I don't think it's a bracket.
I was gonna say, because how would that work? I guess
Yeah.
we would make 16 different briskets, and then we would put them up against each other in a sort of chili cook-off.
Turns off the one I made first is the worst one. It's cold and kind of grimy.
I mailed it to Andrew, and it just didn't hold well. This suggestion comes from @RevRybread on Twitter, submitting for the consideration of the Discourse Society.
Is that's the title?
That's the pitch or the title.
Ooh,
it's definitely the tagline.
So this would be the most controversial podcast of all time, where we just go on and say a hot take.
Ooh. So I was reading this as an audience suggestion podcast where like someone messages us and goes, "Hi, I'm submitting for the consideration of the Discourse Society. PewDiePie's a war criminal or something." And we would then like take in and dig into that discourse and like go like, "Yes, PewDiePie is a war criminal. I'm comfortable in saying that. Approved by the Discourse Society."
See, I took this as it's like a 5-minute podcast. We start the show, we do our theme music, we play all 3 of our ads for the episode. I tell you about the Alienware battle station, and then I step up to the mic and I clear my throat and I say something like, "Adventure Time wasn't that good. There are a lot better shows you should have spent your time watching instead." And then we do our 2 other ads, and then I leave. It's basically the clickbait podcast.
So we are not the Discourse Society. We are the people submitting.
The audience is the Discourse Society.
So we are weighed, judged, and measured by the audience.
Yes.
That's interesting. Do they get to make their words known at all? Do we ever like do like a approval roundup where we talk about which ones made it through and which ones didn't?
No, this is just the hot takes so that we can like get money. Basically, every episode is going to be like one weird fact you didn't know about Adventure Time, and then I'll get up and I'll say it's bad, and then that's the episode, and we'll have like 4 ads running so that we get paid a lot just by clicks. We've made the clickbait podcast.
This is bold. I'm very intrigued by this idea. I'll table it next to Tom Many Cooks. What is the name of this show?
I think for the consideration of the Discourse Society.
All right. What do you have? Do you have another thing sitting over there?
Yeah, so I've got a title here. I got one. This one came in from @WeAreAlexandra on Twitter. The title I want to pitch to you is, hi dog, Death of the Arthur.
Oh, are we killing Arthur?
I think that we are doing it.
Big brain. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just
Absolutely.
large brained.
Hit me.
Poirot is in the public domain. Poirot rolls up to Poirot. It's a Belgian. It's an Agatha Christie thing. He's a Belgian.
Yeah. Okay. I've never heard him said out loud, actually.
Yeah, Hercule Poirot.
I'm realizing it's not Poirot. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he strolls up to an elementary school, and guess what? Arthur's been murdered. And it is a audio drama where Hercule Poirot who has to find out who killed this aardvark.
So we get a grim, gritty mystery set at their elementary school. We see all these side characters. Brain's involved. Binky's involved. Buster's involved. Did they all start with B's?
They might have. You get DW doesn't. You get
BW. You get Brancine.
You get the now. DW, I know you did not love your brother, but I, Hercule Poirot, do not dictate you as the murderer. And that
And
shit.
then we get to have like a sitting room scene with all of the characters from the show. So you get like Muffy's there that's like, I'm too rich to have murdered Arthur. I wouldn't want his commoner blood on my hands. And they're like, yeah, that checks out. Like, that's Muffy.
But then it turns out that Muffy did kill Arthur.
Right, because she did want his commoner blood on her hands. You get Mr. Ratburn, who's just like, well, I couldn't have done it. Yeah, we get everyone in the room.
I'm a wonderful gay rat. I would have never murdered. Murder on the Arthur Express. They all did it. Hastings is there and is like, these are all talking animals. And Poirot is like, yes, you would say that, yes.
So I got another idea for us. This one came in from @Pagetish, who says a speedrun randomizer, but for cocktails.
Ooh, so we're just throwing together alcohol and drinking all episodes.
Yes. Each episode starts with us just like picking like at random 4 bottles from whatever our bar shelf is. Mine's dangerously low these days. But we get a variety of things. We mix them together in various amounts, and I guess the speed run is just like whichever one of us dies first.
Yeah, I love that. I do unfortunately have another idea for a podcast, which is Riley answers their phone in the middle of a podcast to go downstairs and pick up Popeyes. Showed up through Postmates. Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Bye. Never mind, my wife is going to get it.
Your wife's great.
I love Mandy. Hey, this is a wife appreciation podcast. Hi, we're wife guys, and we're here to talk to you about podcasts. I love.
Man, I would have been a wife guy, but this damn pandemic.
You are simply fiance guy.
I have to be a fiance simp for another year.
A fiance simp. Fuck. Oh no, we gotta leave that whole part in so I can get the fiance simp joke.
You got another podcast for us?
I love the speedrun podcast, but I'm afraid that we will actually die. And so I have a podcast from my friend, my good friend Tanner here, who is at Sparky Upstart on Twitter, who says it's the title of a podcast, Piano Rimo. Let me spell
Piano Rimo?
So make sure you get the joke here.
Is this NaNoWriMo but for pianos?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. You have to write a sonata.
So you write one sonata every day. Riley, I gotta admit, is a sonata big?
Hey Google, what's a sonata? A composition for an instrumental soloist, often with a piano accompaniment, typically in several movements with one or more in sonata form. What?
Okay, so it's big. So you need to make a whole sonata by the time you're done. So we got 1 month to make a sonata.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we call each other, like, we'll probably have to do it like daily just to make sure that we're on the right track. But like we call each other and say, hey, here's my song. Boop boop boo doo boo boop 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 boo doo boo. Is this good? And then I have to try and think, what did I just say? Because I recognize it, but I have no idea what I just sang.
I recognized it too, and I was like, I cannot pull it up in my brain.
Daft Punk. Do It Harder Makes Us Better. Or maybe not Daft Punk, but the Kanye backing track from
that don't kill me. Can only make me stronger.
Exactly. Stronger, yeah. So I play that for you, and you go, you just made Stronger by Kanye West's backing track. And I go, fuck. And then the next day we come back and we just like keep workshopping a Panano sonata.
A Panera sonata?
A Panera sonata.
We've hollowed out bread to make it a flute. New idea. I'll explain how I got here in a second. The TikTok-opotamus.
TikTokopotamus?
Mm-hmm. We are... Well, Andrew, what do you think the TikTokopotamus is?
It's... So I think that this is a audio fiction podcast. It's a grim, gritty, personal account of
It's a sequel to The Murder on the Arthur Express.
Yeah, no. So there's a documentary about a guy whose like hobby is to be a scary clown, and he like gets hired by people to be a scary clown. Do you know what I'm talking about?
That sounds believable. It just sucks that band exists.
Yeah, I assure you this exists. But like it's that, except it's the guy who dresses up as a hippopotamus to scare people out of doing TikToks.
Mm-hmm. So you get a lot of like half-finished TikToks where somebody they get on and they're starting to talk about their day, and then they go, "What was that?" And the lights flash down the hall, and there's just like a man in a hippo costume, and then a scream, and then the TikTok is cut short.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Synthrat TikTok, but more nefarious.
What if we made an Aragon TikTok about a monster that was hunting TikTokers?
TM. We own that. Don't make that one.
That's a very good web fiction idea that like you could do. Honestly, is like you have a normal TikTok, and then like you start slowly introduce again. Do anything, and then start slowly introducing horror elements, and it's like this rules.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of, keep an ear out for the next couple episodes where we'll start introducing our new friend, the Strangler.
The Strangler.
I got a pitch.
And it goes great when you introduce a horror creature as a joke, and then you definitely don't get actually haunted by the Strangler.
Yeah. That's it's gonna be like, I can't wait till my funeral in like 2 years where they're gonna be like, wow, isn't it weird that he predicted this on the podcast before he got strangled?
Or he got strangled. Well, if only we had any clues.
If only.
And then wait, what is this? It's a dead drop. Oh, it's a dead drop because he died. There's a file in here, and it's in the Caesarian cipher.
TM. Don't steal. So I got an idea. Janie writes in and says, a gaming podcast, but you can only play games from a decade ago.
Ooh,
that sounds like most gaming podcasts. Ding! Got him!
Boom! Bam! Hi ho!
Hi ho!